Welcome, guys. Welcome to Team Freestyle Build Strong Training. It is Monday, the 19th of March, 2018, and we're super excited to have a special guest from outside of Team Freestyle, but within the Juice Plus community as our guest tonight, and sharing her wisdom and insights, how she has not only become an NMD just recently, she was also Juice Plus Australia's franchisee of the month last month. So big congratulations for her doing that. And she is about to become a 24 clubber, which is a huge, huge achievement in the Juice Plus journey. And she almost, when you think about it, it's almost done on her own, because I know her upline support lives on the other side of the world. So she's a huge inspiration, someone that we have so much respect for and certainly admired from afar. And to be able to have her on tonight, super excited. Now, Sophie, I need to apologize for Kira. She has lost her voice. So I don't know what that's all about,
Really annoying.
What the metaphor for that is.
It's like the past life before Juice Plus, where I let him do all the talking. It's really frustrating.
Trust me.
But I just want to say while I can. So when we talk about people that we encourage you to check out or follow on social media, because they do such a phenomenal job with building their branding, and one of the things that I love to talk about is attraction marketing. So rather than having to ever go out and sell, you attract people to you. And Sophie is certainly one of the best in the business that I've seen do that. And you do it so authentically and so uniquely. Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on tonight to share that, and really grateful that you're willing to share with the team.
It's awesome. And just a little disclaimer before you guys go and hurry and friend request her. Remember, no friend request for Sophie. She does not want to have a Juice Plus Facebook page. She doesn't want to see her feed. So I'm going to encourage you guys, do not friend request her tonight. Is that if you want to check out what she's doing, follow her. Don't friend request her, okay? So just a little small disclaimer. You guys know we talk about that a little bit when we have our rock stars inside or outside, but respect that. And she probably won't friend you, not because she doesn't like you, is because she's probably doing she's on social media to build a business, not to have a wall of Juice Plus people. So stoked to have you on tonight. And maybe to kick off, love for you to just share, how did the Juice Plus business come into your life, and tell us a little bit about the journey so far.
Yeah, for sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for the lovely intro. And Kira, you sound absolutely dreadful. I hope you thought that was really poor thing. So I'm really excited to be on tonight, sharing a bit about my branding, sharing about attraction marketing. And of course, I will kick off by sharing a little bit about my story. So I'm coming up for my 4-year anniversary in the Juice Plus business. And it took me a long while to take it seriously. I really joined for the community. Ironically, I found the opportunity on social media, and then so much of my business has been built on social media. But I actually suffered from really bad eczema, and I saw a post about these capsules that had helped other people with their eczema, and I thought, why not give it a go? When I bought the products, I'd also told my mom and my sister about them in the same day, and the girl that I was buying them off was like, well, you might as well start a business. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I send my details over, and all of a sudden I've got a business. But I haven't got a business. I've got a hobby that I never took seriously as a business, because that wasn't what I joined for. But what I very quickly found with Juice Plus was this incredible community. I was 23 at the time. I'd moved over from Manchester, hence my funny accent, to Australia. And I really didn't have my own thing going on here. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do career-wise. I'd met an Aussie man, fallen in love, stuck around a lot longer than I intended to, which is a pretty standard British story. And I was really in a place of looking for my own girl gang, my own group of friends outside of his life. I didn't just want to be his girlfriend and be friends with his friends' wives, for example. I'd always been very independent in the UK, and I'd had a really cool group of friends. So moving out here and being on my own and really not having my own kind of thing going on was something that I found really difficult. And so the Juice Plus opportunity came along, and I really stayed for the community. You know, I wasn't earning much money. I had a beautiful shop front. I was PB qualifying my own business, had like big customer base, but couldn't lead a team, wasn't really interested in personal development or being a leader or any of those kinds of things. And that's really where I stayed for the first couple of years of my business journey. So I kind of like dragged my way to SSC on the UK marketing plan. And I guess sometimes I don't give myself enough credit for that, because I did do that on social media from Australia. I did get myself to SSC, but I just feel when I look back that I did it in all the wrong ways. So I was dragging dead horses, people who, you know, didn't want it, didn't have a passion for it, and probably because I felt the same. So about 2.5 years into my journey, I went back to England for some surgery for a few months, and everything kind of shifted in me. I'd launched Business Bombshells, which is my brand, which you're going to hear me talk a lot about tonight. I'd launched that a few months prior, but I wasn't really taking it seriously. I was posting pretty pictures and it was cute, and everyone was like, wow, she's doing so well. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not, but it looks cool. And now I see so many people in the same position where they're like, I've got this amazing brand, but they haven't got a business. And that's something I really want to talk a lot about tonight. You know, getting into action. It's not enough to just post pretty pictures on Instagram and have a beautiful brand. You have to be in action. So 2.5 years into my journey, I had a bit of a shift and I decided to take it seriously. And I found, I guess, like my first run-in partner in the business, which is Tess, who's going to be my first NMD. I'm sure some of you have seen her on social media. She's phenomenal. And we really just linked arms and built this brand that you see today. And, you know, since then, I kind of got myself into a place of zero excuses, of massive, massive action, and of going for it. You know, a lot of people ask me what changed, and I guess I just decided that I was sick of my own excuses. So it's funny that Adam touched on my uplines being in the UK, because for such a long time, that was such a good crutch, you know? That was a great reason to not be an NMD. My uplines are overseas. It's too hard for me. I don't have any team calls to link into. I don't know the marketing plan. I don't have anyone to teach it to me. And in the end, I just got sick of my own BS, basically, you know, and I got to a point where I was like, if I want this, I have to do this for myself. It doesn't matter if you live in a small town. It doesn't matter if your upline's not in your state. You know, if you really want to be successful in this business, you have to be willing to create that for yourself. And I guess that's where social media, you know, really came in for me.
It's awesome. And so when did social media come into you? I suppose, I know you came across Juice Plus with social media, but when was it that you really saw the potential of what social media can do for you, and, you know, you're inspired by that?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said before, I was always excited about posting pretty pictures, but I guess when the business started to grow a little bit, when I got a bit of momentum, and actually when I found a few friends, like it wasn't about the money, it wasn't about, you know, the positions I was hitting. It was, I'd actually found a few really cool friends in Sydney who I loved hanging out with, who were on tribe for me, and we were going for cocktails, and I was just starting to create a life for myself here. And I'd done that through social media. You know, I was out for cocktails with these girls who I'd met on Facebook, and I was like, this is really cool. And I kind of realized like the power in that, you know, like my excuses weren't good enough anymore because I had this incredible tool. And, you know, you can have 5,000 friends on Facebook, and you'd be crazy not to if you're using social media as a platform, which I guess you all are, or you wouldn't be on listening to me rattle on about it. So yeah, if you've got 5,000 friends on Facebook, then you're in a position where Facebook can be a really, really cool strategy for you. Like, social media was always big for me, but taking action on social media, which is, you know, what I really wanted to talk about tonight, was not always my strong point. And I guess I saw all my uplines and all the people who I admired in the business, you guys, so many phenomenal leaders coming through whilst I was just sat still making excuses. And I watched you guys, you know, like traveling the world and taking your businesses with you. And I was like, wow, like that's crazy. How many other opportunities are there where you can do that? Like, it was just mad. And I was like, this is really, really powerful. And for me, you know, as a millennial and a Gen Y and all those jazz that you love to label as us, it just made total sense to do this on social media. For me, face-to-face was taking a lot longer. I was really trying with face-to-face. And don't get me wrong, you know, I'll throw this in whilst I can. We do still do a lot of face-to-face stuff, guys. Like, you build on social media, but you take those relationships offline and you build face to face. So the friendships, the community, the weekly coffee clubs, the weekly like trainings and things like that, they're not all online. Like I always say my business is 95% online, but it's not really, because a lot of the connections have come offline. So just keep that in mind when we talk about branding and we talk about attraction marketing. It's a phenomenal tool to get you started, but it's so important that you grow those relationships face to face.
Can I just insert there? It's so cool that your branding and your vibe has attracted your tribe. And so I see when you are taking it offline and you're hanging out and you're doing your amazing trainings and get-togethers, you've got your tribe of girls, and I'm sure that makes the business so much more enjoyable as well, because you are being authentically you whilst you're doing the business.
Yeah, massively. And I think that's the, you know, powerful thing about branding is that when your branding represents you, it attracts people like you, and that makes it so much more fun. You know, I don't get 50-year-old Bob from next door wanting to join Business Bombshells. It's not really his thing. And I don't really want to work with Bob next door. So
don't have to. I think so many people have this fear of that if they don't cast a wide net and capture everyone, that there won't be enough people for them. But it's just simply not true. It actually gives you a better result if you define who it is that you're looking for.
Yeah, massively.
So just one of the things I want to touch on, I know it's not kind of, I haven't prepped you for this to ask you this, but some people are going to go, well, I don't have 5,000 friends, so I can't do what Sophie's done, and we're going to talk about branding. Like if someone wanted to, like you didn't have 5,000 friends when you first opened your Facebook page, like before Juice Plus, how did you build a community, a friend? Were you adding people? Like what would be some of the strategies that people would start to build that list?
Yeah, for sure. I think knowing who you are within the business and knowing who you're trying to attract is really, really crucial. I use Instagram a lot for making new connections, and I move them over to Facebook a lot because I find it really easy on Instagram, and perhaps that's my particular tribe, but I find it really easy on Instagram to find people like me to connect with. And the other thing I do is, you know, become an authority figure within groups. So I'm not talking about spamming groups with products or spamming groups with bombshells, but if people have got questions in like fashion groups or makeup or things that are on tribe for me, and for you guys it may be completely different, but if people have got questions, I'm just being helpful and I'm taking a genuine interest, and I really see that as my job. Like that's how I make money, and it doesn't feel like it on a base level, but those connections that you make every day and those little helpful comments that you make and those compliments you give and those happy birthday messages that you're sending every day, they are what really build your business. And I think I had 600 friends when I first started Juice Plus on Facebook, and I just went to work on adding people on my tribe and sending them a really friendly, positive message. Like I always say to my girls, there's a no button when someone sends you a friend request, and there's a delete button even after they've accepted. So don't be afraid to add new people that are on your tribe. Don't be afraid to make new connections. If I'd never done that, I wouldn't have a business. I certainly wouldn't be an NMD. So it's really being proactive. You know, on my girls that are coming through on their DMO every day is add 50 new friends. And, you know, for some people, they're like, where do I start? And I go to someone who's on tribe. So I'll find someone who I've got no mutual friends with, who's, you know, in my friend list and who's really on tribe, who I've had a nice chat with, and I add from their friends list. So there's so many ways you can be adding new friends, you know, pages that you follow. So for me, Misguided is a big one. Misguided is really on brand for me. Misguided Australia, particularly because I'm building in Australia. I'll go onto those pages and look at people who are commenting, look at people who are interacting, because you don't want just anyone who's like the page. You want people who are active on social media. You know, you're looking for social media bunnies too. And so I get out there and, you know, really connect, add those people who are super active in groups, and equally from within other groups like the fashion groups and the makeup groups. I guess it can be difficult if you make it difficult, but it's actually really, really simple, and it's just adding new people every single day.
And can I ask a couple of questions here? When you talk about adding, you're adding people to your own personal page or your branding page. You're really leading from you as an individual, right?
Yeah, my personal page. And people are like, oh, but how do you like not run out of space? And I'm like, I delete about 50 people a day, because 50 people a day post BS I'm not interested in, you know. I might add people and then they post something stupid and I'm like, you are not on tribe. And I'm not afraid to delete those people, you know. I'm building a business, and Facebook's my business at the end of the day. So I'm a little bit ruthless with it.
Awesome. And you said 50, not 15,
50.
right?
Yeah, takes 5 minutes.
Awesome. And can I ask, you can get blocked from Facebook if you're adding too many people. There's a formula to that, right? It's like relative friends, that sort of thing. It's not just random ads.
Yeah, for sure. So I always try and add people, and we're really careful, obviously, with the bombshells. We have a lot of crossovers because we're all very tribey, but I'll always try and add people who aren't friends with the bombshells, but who have at least 6 or 7 mutual friends. And that's how you avoid yourself getting blocked. You know, if you go and start adding 100 people from Greece who you have no mutual friends with, they'll block you.
Awesome. Good tip. Good tip. Let's talk about branding, because I know you've done a great job with that. You know, can you talk us through your branding tips and how important you feel it is to build a brand?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the most important thing when it comes to branding is to realize that you yourself are a brand. Before your business page, before the content that you post, the content that you create, you are a brand, and you're the most powerful brand that you know you're going to come across. So you really have to ask yourself, would you follow you? So if you look at your Facebook right now, can people see there's an opportunity? Can people see that you're sharing a health product? Would you follow you? Are you inspired? Or have you just posted that, you know, you were stuck in traffic on the way home and it was crap and blah, 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 neg. So I'm always looking at, you know, when people ask me to look at their social media, like within the team, if new people come in, I'm always looking for, would I actually follow this person? Am I inspired by this person? And what I always say with branding is think about your favorite brands. So what brands do you follow? It could be absolutely anything. It could be, you know, I'll use Misguided again because I used that before. So for me, I love Misguided. They've just done a campaign about like stretch marks, and it was really cool, like really on brand, and I just loved it. So for me, I look at the brands that I love and I look at what they do, and I pretend that I'm a brand worth hundreds of millions of dollars, because that's what I want to be. So if you're treating your branding really, really small and you're thinking, oh, it's just, you know, to a few hundred people on Facebook, you're doing it all wrong. Like if you want to build a genuine following, which we'll come on to, it's so important that you look at, would you follow you and are you inspiring? You know, Misguided doesn't drop the ball. You don't see Nike do a post about the traffic on the way home. And that's how you have to treat your brand. If you're building on social media, if you want to be a successful brand, you have to walk like a successful brand. I have bad days. I have days where I want to whinge, but I stop myself because it's detrimental to my business. Like it's literally the difference between me recruiting that day or not. So you have to just think, if Facebook is a platform for you to build, make it so sparkly, hold yourself accountable and hold yourself to a higher standard with it. So brands don't drop the ball. Figure out your personal identity within your business. This is so important. And I think the main reason that Bombshells works for me is because it is me. Like it literally runs through my veins. And I always say to my team, if you're not excited about what you're posting, don't post it. I would literally rather you post nothing than post generic crap that doesn't even excite you. If you're not excited about it, chances are no one else is going to be excited about it. So fall in love with your brand, whatever that means for you. Like, let it run through your veins. Be obsessed with it, because that's the only way to be successful with branding, is to really, really be obsessed with it. And think about what you have to offer when it comes to branding. Don't be afraid to rebrand. If what I'm saying, you know, if you're thinking it doesn't run through my veins, it's not me, go and rebrand. Like I had a skin brand called Get Up and Glow for 2 years, and it was cute and I liked it, but it didn't set my soul on fire, and I didn't wake up every day and want to be, you know, like hashtag bombshells every single post. Whereas now I'm just like, I get so fired up talking about it because it's just my absolute passion, and that's what it has to be. It has to really be your baby. And if it is your baby, then that leads me on to my next point, which is creating authentic content. So often, and I'm sure you guys hear this all the time, we see like robots copy and paste posts, Juice Plus posts being posted across social media. And it's not only detrimental to you, but it's really detrimental to the industry and the products. Like it just looks so bad. Sometimes I scroll through social media and there's like 4 posts on top of each other that are identical. And I'm like, oh, good Lord. And that just suggests to me that you guys, not you guys, but you know, the wider community aren't treating this as their baby. Because if this was your baby, if you love this and you're obsessed with it, you're not just going to go and copy and paste someone else's stuff. Anyone could take a picture of an avocado smash off Google and post it to their timeline. But take pride in your brand, take pride in your business, make it look pretty on your plate, take a nice picture, post it, you know, make it authentic to you. It's those little things that will set you aside from other people. Those, you know, rather than just posting the capsules when you're talking about skin, for example, doing a skin selfie. It sounds so simple, but it's so much more authentic, and people buy into you. Like, you can't create a brand without showing you, whatever that is. And whoever you are and however you show up in the business is an incredible brand, and it's so, so powerful, and you just have to really lean into that. So stop stealing other people's posts. It just won't work. Be real and raw. So nobody likes perfect. And I say this all the time, like, you do not have to be the most perfect, you know, social media superstar. Sometimes I write things and I'm like, okay, but you just have to get it out there. Like, perfect, like done over perfect. Don't spend half an hour trying to write a post. Make sure that you're getting content out there, and you're always thinking about getting back into action, and back into those conversations. And yeah, that's all I've got on building a brand, really. I mean, I could go all night, but we'll cover a bit more in a minute.
and like, when someone is, you know, when they're increasing their social media exposure, they're finding new people to speak to, you know, what are the tips that you have around that?
So engaging is really, really important. And this brings me back to talking earlier about pretending that your brand has 100 million followers. So when you are doing a Facebook Live, or when you are, you know, doing a post on Facebook or anything, engagement is so important. You have to think of like your favorite celebrity on Instagram or Facebook, and pretend that, like, when you imagine you're watching them do a Facebook Live and you comment and you say, hey, and they say, hey back, you're like, oh my God, makes your day. You're going to post it all over Facebook. You're so exciting. And you have to, you know, imagine that that is your brand. Like, you have to be that passionate about your brand and about the brand of you, and confident enough in yourself that you're engaging with people, because it really, you know, it gives them a boost. When we engage with people on social media, it releases dopamine in our brains. Like, it's that powerful. When someone says hi back to you on a Facebook Live, you don't understand the power of that, guys, of like responding to people's questions and being that person on social media. So make sure that you're engaging, because that makes you a stronger brand on social media, and it does increase your exposure. If people have a positive outlook of you on Instagram, on Facebook, on whatever platform you're using, they are much more likely to connect people to your posts and to your wall and things like that. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to increase your exposure as much as you can. So just being that, like, sunbeam who's always engaging with people, and being super positive on social media. Adding new people, which we covered before. Replying to comments, post as if you have a huge following. Sorry, I'm just reading some notes. One thing that I do, which I didn't say before, is I go through, if I feel like I've not got enough people to talk to, like, people say this to me all the time, I don't know who to talk to, I don't have enough people to talk to on Facebook, you know, no one's connecting. I will go through, I'll start at A, for example, and the first 10 people who should be on Tribe, because remember, Facebook's your business, so those first 10 people aren't people who you were friends with 30 years ago who, you know, you never speak to and you have no interest in following. These are tribey people who you can potentially recruit or share the products with. So I go through the first 10 people on my list, and I really look at connecting with them. So I'll go through their posts, and I might comment on their profile picture or throw them a like, and I'll just do that for like the first 10, 20 people. If I feel like I've got no one to talk to that day, I really go through and make sure that I'm connecting with people. It's not enough to just be posting. You have to go and make those connections. Like, if you're just that person who always posts but never connects, never likes, never comments, never engages on anything, you're not really relationship building. You're just waiting for everyone to do the work, you know, on your wall, versus you going out there and actually getting in the trenches. I think I've got no one to talk to is the worst excuse in the world, because you've got 5,000 friends. You just have to get out of your comfort zone, and you have to be willing to, you know, go and have those conversations.
It's awesome. And can I ask, your initial is to comment, interact, do that, rather than just, you know, message them flat out?
Yeah, so I'll like gently ease them in, because I feel like and I'm going to talk about Instagram in a minute, but for example, on Instagram, I get 20 plus messages a day from people saying, hi, join my business, rah, 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 rah. And if they took 2 minutes to look at my wall, they can clearly see I'm in network marketing. So I think it's so lazy to just go straight into people's inbox with an opportunity before you've got any idea about whether they need this opportunity or whether they're remotely interested. So if I spend a couple of minutes and I see that this girl's just had a new baby and I comment on the baby picture, then I've got a bit more ammunition. That sounds brutal, but that's what I mean. So then if she replies to the comment, I can pop her a message and say, oh my gosh, how's being a mummy? You know, and I've really got something to connect with her on. I find it impossible to just jump into people's inboxes and say, hi, I have an opportunity. And then they're like, okay, great. What is it? And I'm like, I know nothing about you. I have no connection with you. This is, you know, torturous.
And when you're talking about, someone asked about like you're adding the 50, you're not like, oh, they're my new 50 that I'm going to go and start to you're just adding to, and then you're looking for opportunities when you connect, but there's no like, oh, these are the next 50 I'm going to connect with, right?
No. I have like lists on lists. So when I speak to someone, they go into one list and then they move into another list. So I'm very organized with that, but I'm not regimented in terms of I've added these 50, so these 50 are the ones that I have to speak to. And, you know, with attraction marketing and when you've got your branding right and when you're doing your Facebook lives and your wall looks super sparkly, when you add someone, like if I get a random friend request, what's the first thing you do? You go and stalk them. So if they come and stalk you, make sure that your wall is 10 out of 10. Make sure you've got an amazing Facebook live there that you've done in the last week, and make sure that your posts look beautiful. So it creates intrigue. Like most of the time when I add people, they message me and ask me. I don't need to jump in their inboxes. They're like, what do you do? This is cool.
Yeah. Awesome. And can I just like some people will be like, but oh no, now I need a perfect post. The perfect post is the authentic post, guys. Let's think about what Sophie shared before, is that being real, being yourself, being authentic, that's the perfect post. It's not like it looks perfect. It's like, oh, is it as good as everyone else's? I think it's a really, important, thing to do, I think, for people to understand. Can I ask, Sophie, do you use in Facebook, are you then doing Facebook lists inside Facebook where you have a list of your prospects and you can jump that? Are you using that?
No, I don't do that. Someone told me about that the other day and I'll be really honest, I don't use that. I'm on paper everywhere.
I haven't used, I'm not a social media guru, but I know Laurie and Cameron gave me this tip through Simon Chan, creating lists where you can just hit the list and just see the people that like your list, you can just see their post and no one else's. So I know the guys that are doing that, it's been really effective.
Yeah, that's really powerful. I love that.
I know you recruit a lot with Instagram. Are you up for sharing? Hang on one second. I'm just going to mute everyone, then I'll unmute you. I'll get you to unmute you.
All good.
Yeah, so just, are you open to sharing, the step, like the process that you are with the Instagram interest that you're creating?
Yeah, for sure. It just cut out a little bit there, but just to clarify what Adam said, it was about recruiting on Instagram. So for me, 80% of my recruits come through Instagram and the rest are through Facebook, occasionally face-to-face, like new mommy I met in the lift today. But generally, Instagram's like my go-to. And I love Instagram because you can have really fast connections on Instagram. So what I was saying before about, going through A, going through B, going through C and connecting with people, Instagram makes that so easy. It's so easy to comment on people's posts. It's so easy to follow people. It's so easy to engage. And the main thing I say about Instagram, and I say this all the time, is if Instagram isn't your passion, if you're not into creating content and it's not for you, please don't try and do it, because you have to love it. Like, people sometimes will listen to this and then they go and create an Instagram account and they're like, right, I'm going to build on Instagram. Build on Instagram if Instagram is something that you love. For me, I've never touched Twitter because I don't get it. I have no idea how it works. I know other people who recruit really successfully through Twitter. So it's really about finding what works for you. But for me, that is Instagram. So I find that I can have fast connections on Instagram. I speak to between 20 and 30 people a day on Instagram, whether that's through messages or whether that's through comments. And I'm constantly making new connections. The first thing I try to do when I'm having a good friendly conversation with someone is get them on my Facebook. I try and do that really, really quickly because Instagram is just photos. Facebook has my lives, it has my preview group, it has all these other great tools on there. And I feel like Facebook really shows who you are. You know, it shows my family and things like that, which people can connect to more. So one thing that I do with Instagram is really try and move them over to Facebook quite quickly and get them into my opportunity group. So no spam. And I've seen people within the industry do this because I get messages all the time, and it just doesn't work. Basically, you know, it might work 1 in 100 times, but it's just not worth it. And when I say no spam, I mean don't be in people's inboxes telling them that you have an opportunity, because as I mentioned before, I get between 20 and 30 messages a day, guys, that go into my filtered messages sharing different opportunities. And I think it's just such lazy tools, lazy tactics to try and recruit, because it's very clear that I'm in network marketing. So just be really, really careful that you're not spamming anyone and you're just doing exactly what I said before about Facebook, liking and engaging and, you know, popping up in people's DMs. It's so much easier to do that on Instagram. I find people on Instagram are very keen for information very quickly, and that allows for, you know, much faster conversations, and they're much quicker to say no, but they're also much quicker to say yes and jump in. So it can be a really cool platform. So no spamming, liking, engaging and following. Instagram stories are phenomenal, as are Facebook stories. I try not to post more than once or twice a day on Instagram, but sometimes I'll do 9, 10 Instagram stories, and they're getting, you know, really high views, and that's showing people what I'm up to. So today, for example, I was working from the beach and I do an Instagram story to show that. And Instagram stories is another one where you really have to be active in connecting with other people. So again, it's not enough to just do your own stories. You have to go and connect with other people, react to their stories, comment on their stories. Stories are such a good way to start conversations. Like, I'm finding them a really, really great tool, really powerful, because you can literally have a conversation about exactly what they've just posted without it feeling staged, without it feeling weird. You know, it goes straight to their messages and they're open to conversating about it because they've just posted it. So if you're not using stories, Instagram, Facebook, you're missing a trick when it comes to branding. Replying to everyone on messages and on your comments. This sounds like something really small, but on comments on Instagram, you can react to them. So you can like hit love like you can on Facebook, and then you can also reply. And the more interaction you have below a post, the more it gets seen in Instagram's most seen. You know, the more it pops up higher on that hashtag. So the more interaction you can get on a post, the more likes and the more comments, the more likely that post is to be seen. So particularly if it's, you know, a direct recruitment post, or it's a post that is likely to attract people to your Instagram to see a direct recruitment post, it's really, really important that you're out there connecting and replying to those comments. And what I mean by a direct recruitment post, you know, if you guys look at my Instagram, you'll see that every 1 in 12 maybe is actually that I've got an opportunity. And outside of that, it's free content, it's engaging content, it's just sharing my life. I do not go on there and share the products and the business every day. I go on there and build a following, build relationships, connect with people. And then when I've done that, you know, 100 times, I might pop a recruitment post up because I've, you know, had relationships that I've built within the week. So it's really not a place for direct recruitment every day. It's not a place for let's make a million. It's a place for showing who you are, sharing your brand, and then, you know, directly connecting with people and having those fast connections, getting them onto Facebook, and just being super, super active.
I just had a bit of an aha moment. I've since having the success that we have in this business, I've been super lazy with my Instagram, I have to admit. And so I just realized as you were talking that quite often on Facebook, people have a perception that if I don't know you and you're not my friend, I'm not going to friend you. Whereas Instagram, we follow people so much more readily that we don't know, purely because we like the content that is on their wall. So it would be so much easier to connect with people who are not already in your friendship circle or friends of friends, because that's the vibe that Instagram is.
Yeah, massively. And Instagram works in the same way, you know, I was saying before, like when you interact with someone or you send someone a friend request, they come and look at your wall. When you follow someone on Instagram who's bang on tribe, the first thing they do is come and check you out and see if they want to follow you back. So don't be afraid to follow 10,000 people and only have 100 followers. Like, this is not a pride thing. This is a business. So don't worry about those numbers. Don't worry about where your interaction's coming from. Just get out there and relationship build, and don't be afraid to follow every single person on your tribe. If that's 1 million people, go and follow them, and don't worry about how many are following you, because you've really got to be out there in the trenches connecting with people on a daily basis.
And so can I ask, like, and I know a few people ask, and certainly for me, like, how are you, because someone's Instagram profile is not often, you know, them, like they've got a different name, that how are you taking someone from Instagram and then finding them and friending them on Facebook? Are you literally asking them, or are you delving and doing a little bit of discovery to do that?
Yeah, so I have a link at the top of my Instagram, and you can adjust your Facebook link, which if you haven't done is a really, really good idea because it's a much easier way to connect with people. So my Facebook, like my profile to add me is /Sophie Business Bombshells. So if I'm out and about and I'm chatting to someone, it's not trying to connect with them. It's just really easy for them to find me. And it's the same on Instagram. So at the top of my Instagram, there's a link to add me on Facebook. So I'll just in conversation be like, oh, it'd be fab to connect on Facebook. The link's in my bio, you know, and then move the conversation on into how's baby, da 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 da.
Awesome. And I was going to ask you something.
And so
else.
is that a business Facebook page or a personal?
That's my personal.
Yeah. So you, obviously there was a bit of controversy about 6 months ago around don't use your personal page, which we don't agree with, but you like your personal page as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have both, but honestly, I think everything I've said about being real and raw and authentic, you can't do that through a business page. Like, people will join this business because they want to join you. Like, it's not the products, it's not even the business opportunity half the time, it's you. They trust you, they want to be part of what you believe in. And if your brand's that strong, then that should be happening. And I think I can't authentically do that through a business page in the same way as I can through my personal page, personally.
And it's so much more hard work, I've found.
Yeah, I agree.
Personal page just to be you.
Yeah, and can I ask, so one thing, when you're posting on Instagram, is that same post showing up on Facebook? Are you kind of posting on both, or you Instagram only, and then you're merging them over to Facebook?
Yeah, look, sometimes I take a cool selfie and it goes to both. But generally, my content's actually very different, and that's because they're very different platforms. So I did a post last night about how I'm traveling home to see my family after America, and I'm so excited, and it was a very personal post. And that stuff doesn't really make it to Instagram because it just doesn't get the engagement. Instagram's too fast for that. They're not really interested about your nieces and nephews. Whereas Facebook's a lot more connected, and that's why I try and move the connections across. Yeah. So the content is different. You know, like I say, occasionally I'll take a cute picture with the girls and it goes on both, but actually, like, I don't copy and paste between the two. And I'm also very aware that a lot of my Instagram followers are now my Facebook friends. So if I'm just posting between the two, it makes me look like a bit of a robot.
I love it.
These are all questions that are popping up in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not like, I've got another 10 questions.
No, that's fine.
I think, so in your Facebook, that's where your preview opportunity, come and join my branding page. That's kind of what you're using that for, right? Like they become your Facebook friends, and you add them to a so-called preview opportunity page, where then they can come and check out what the tribe's all about. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Awesome. And guys, I want to say this with team that are on, and they're all like, oh, I want to know how to do all these little things. Like, you could search YouTube and there would be a tutorial how to do a Insta story. I've got no idea how to do one. I'm yet to do one. But I want to say this, like, so listen to you, I'm like, I'm going to do Instagram. Let's do this thing.
He's not going to do Instagram.
No, I've even written down a brand. I've written even like, I'm inspired around a brand. Look out.
Can't stick with photos.
Hey. I love my wife. Anyway, is there any other social media insights, tips that you would love to share?
Yeah, so the main question people ask me is how many times to post a day. And I think the biggest thing I can tell you guys with that is it's trial and error. So at one point I was posting 9 times a day because that's what I was told to do by my uplines in the UK. 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 3 in the evening. If I did that now, I would literally destroy my business. So I do not recommend that. However, some people in the UK are still doing that and it works for them. God knows. But yeah. So for me, I post 3 times a day. That's my go-to. I always post 3 times a day. Even on a day off, I'll buffer them in if I have to. But 3 times a day is what really works for me. For you guys, it might be once a day. It might be twice a day. It's probably not any more than 3 times a day as a general rule, just in terms of interaction and a lot of research that's been done done on interaction. But 3 times a day is, you know, what you should really be aiming for if you're trying to build a brand and trying to be in people's faces a little bit and, you know, get yourself out there and get yourself seen. 3, you know, great, authentic, real, raw posts a day.
Would that be, sorry to butt in, would that be Instagram as well?
No, so Instagram I tend to do 1 or 2. Sorry guys, I'm just talking about Facebook for this. Thank you. So photo posts get 39% more interaction on Facebook than just posting the same thing without a photo. So this is where that real authentic content coming in really, really works, because you can't be lazy with that. You take it off Google, that percentage rate is gone. Photo posts of you, photo posts of your family, photo posts that relate to your brand get 39% more interaction. Short posts get 23% more interaction. So if you're a rambler, cut them down, guys. Seriously, people won't read them. I don't read them. You have to always think, would I read this if it was someone else's wall? Do you read other people's ramblings? They're okay now and then when you're being totes emotion, you just come out of conference and you're buzzing. But on a daily basis, short posts get a lot more interaction. And then the biggest thing that works for me, and I do this often, you know, at least 3 or 4 times a week, and it really generates new conversations, is question posts. So what I call interaction posts. So I'll do a post saying, you know, I don't know what colour to dye my hair. Should I do it pink or should I do it grey? And it gets hundreds of comments because people love to have an input on your life. So people love to feel involved in what you've got going on, and it's doing an interaction post so that you can then interact with those people, and it increases, you know, where your post sits in the feed, and it also allows you to have conversations with those people, because people you haven't spoken to for years will pop up and you're like, you message them and you say, oh my gosh, I'm not sure, pink or grey, and it's just a great way to lead into a conversation. So we do posts which are like, post a picture of your dog if that's on tribe for you, you know, like whatever's on tribe for you, whoever you are, whatever the brand is that you're sharing. Interaction posts are phenomenal for interaction.
Awesome. And just on quick, like blogs, website, email lists, I'm going to guess I know the answer, but are you doing any of that stuff? What's your thought?
I just really try and keep it simple. I have tried all of those things. I spent hours on end building a website. I had a MailChimp mailing list that, you know, a newsletter went out every week. And I never found that I was building my business as much as I am now by posting 3 times a day on Facebook, having 10 conversations a day, every single day, and really just focusing on action. I feel like when I had the website maintenance and I had to do the MailChimp newsletter, it was a lot of like fluff that wasn't actually earning me any money. And I think at a base level, if you just get in the trenches and have the conversations, that's when you're building a business.
And can I add, like, I think honestly, guys, like when's the last, like how often are you looking at a website? How often are you reading a blog? How often are you reading emails opposed to looking at Instagram and Facebook? I think that's a pretty simple answer. Like, I think we know the answer to that. There's a small percentage that like reading blogs. I don't know how to read anymore. I'm sure I'm dyslexic. It's videos and pictures. That's kind of what we are attracted to these days.
Yeah, it's so true. Like if I get emails from anyone, they just go straight into spam. Like I'm just not interested. So you always have to think, how do you respond to random emails? Because that's how other people are going to respond as well. And I think with social media and particularly with branding, you really have to stay up to date with the times. Like it moves so fast. Things move so fast in this industry that you have to stay with it. And if you're stuck doing MailChimp newsletters versus Facebook stories, you're going to get left behind.
I want to ask Sophie, I'm a strong believer that if someone asks what I do, I don't do Juice Plus. Not because I'm not proud of Juice Plus, but our business is so much more than that. And that's not what drew me into the business. What do you share when someone asks, what do you do? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, it's funny that you ask that, because Simon Mitchell, who's a mentor of mine, takes the piss out of me constantly, because whenever anyone adds themselves into his network marketing group, they have to answer a question about which company they're with. And whenever my team add themselves, they answer bombshells. Which is hilarious. They don't even know they're part of Juice Plus. No, they do. But, you know, they think that the network marketing company is bombshells. And I think that's a bit of a testament to the brand, I guess. But no, I'm exactly the same. I never lead with Juice Plus. I tell them, you know, my story, and I share my story with them. Even in my opportunity group, Juice Plus is, you know, 2% of it. And it's not because I'm not proud of the products. I'm not proud of this phenomenal community and this phenomenal business that we're in. I just think that you as an individual are so much bigger and so much more attractive as a brand than Juice Plus.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Awesome. the guy, like, there's so much information here. We're so, so grateful for you sharing that. And I suppose people think, okay, what do I do next, or doing that? Like, what would be your biggest piece of advice when it comes to, how do I take what's so shared now and finish March really strong? And then secondly, what are the next 1-2 things you'd recommend someone if they're on your team?
Yeah, for sure. So I think posting as if you have 1 million followers is so, so important. And I guess, this might just be a bit of a recap, but these are like my golden nuggets when I share social media. Post as if you're posting to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. Guys, don't be afraid. Don't be a robot. It's the fastest way to burn your business. Just go out there and create authentic content and really be yourself within that. Posting authentic content is so, so important. And just always remember, and I say this to people all the time, always remember that Facebook has a delete button and Instagram has an unfollow button. So go and be true to yourself. Go and share your authentic self with the world, and don't worry about what anyone thinks. That's the main reason that people don't build successful brands. It's the main reason people don't share on Facebook. It's the main reason people won't get on a Facebook Live. We're so worried about what other people are going to think about us that we get consumed in it, and it stops us from getting into action. It stops us from getting into that place of massive growth and really connecting to what we're trying to achieve. So just with everything that you're posting, just always remember that those people, those negative people in your ear will not be in your life in 5 years' time. They're not going to be paying your bills and living your dream life in 5 years' time. It is so, so important to connect to your brand, connect to your business, treat your brand like it's your baby and let it run through your veins, and just do it without fear. Do it unapologetically and just absolutely go for it.
Awesome.
So good. You've given so much gold. We're so grateful, Sophie. It's amazing. Everyone is writing so many comments.
Yeah. So can I ask you, social media, like, it's inspiring what you've done. It's so cool to see you really blossom over the last I've certainly seen you blossom in the last 18 months in this business. It's been amazing. And, you should be super proud of yourself, what you've been able to create. I want to ask you about something that's totally off topic around not social media, but conference. Like you said that it's 90 days till our national conference. It's 90 days till we're in Perth. We're going to, I know Team FreeStyle will be up the front cheering you on as you walk the stage as an NMD. I'm sure of that. Can I ask you, why is conference so important? Like, we're going to have a big conversation over the next 90 days and really have a stand for, you just got to get to conference. But in your eyes, why is conference? I know you're going to the US conference, you're going to go to the Aussie conference. Like, why is it a non-negotiable, and what's been your experience through conference?
Yeah, massively. Like, conference for me is everything. Conference is the reason that I never quit. It's the reason that I keep going on the bad days. It's the reason that when things get tough and I just want to throw in the towel, I think back to how I felt in that room. And I think back to all those moments that I've had at conferences that I've been to where I've just felt capable. And, sometimes you walk into that room and you don't feel capable, but you walk out and you feel like you could take on the world. And the problem is when people don't go to conference, they never quite catch that vision. I have people in my team now who haven't done anything for the last 12 months since conference, but they are still here because they've still got that vision, and they're definitely coming to Perth. And at some point, they will kick in just like I did. And if you're not in that room, you run the risk of never kicking in, never catching that vision, and quitting on a bad day. You have to be at conference because it just lights you up. You hear everyone else's stories and you realize that the people in this business are real people. Like, we have struggles, we have fears, we, have to overcome them. We have to go through growth. Because for me, before I went to conference, I thought that these NMDs were like incredible, like superheroes who, just had all their shit together, and I could never be like that. And actually, when I went to conference, I was like, I can do that. Like, they're normal people. I can achieve that. They're just, working harder than me, and I can do that. Like, I'm not afraid of hard work. So yeah, conference for me is an absolute non-negotiable. I can't stress it enough. The way you feel in that room, I would do anything to be there. I went to Hamilton Island conference. That was my first conference. I could not afford it. I was so broke, but I just found a way. I didn't have a team. I went all on my own. I didn't have any uplines there. Woe is me. Massive excuses. But I was there. I remember being in that room and just being like, wow, next time I come, I'm going to bring a whole team. This is going to be amazing. And, you know, I went through a lot over the next 18 months in my personal life, but I never gave up because I always held on to that feeling. So do whatever you can to be in that room at Perth, guys. I know it's a long way. I know it's expensive for a lot of you, but it really is. It's a complete non-negotiable.
It's amazing.
And, you know, quite often we say if you don't invest in yourself, you don't invest in your business, and your business isn't going to grow. So sometimes it's a challenge to think, where am I going to find the money? But if you don't find the money, then the money may not continue to grow. So it's really important to make that investment.
Yeah. And, you know, you're such a, like, guys, if you've never been to conference, you know, think Sophie went to her first conference 2 years ago, and here she is rocking another team's training, not her own team, another team's training. She's going to be an NMD. She's a 24 clubber. Like, you know, every single one of us have the same opportunity if you're willing to play full out, if you're willing to play by the rules. I don't know anyone that walks as an NMD that doesn't come to conference,
I literally
or at least
think
goes.
of any NMD in our team
I know one
doesn't come to conference.
Yeah, and she'll say, I couldn't believe how amazing it is till I came as an ND to conference. Now I get it. It's a pity that, you know, I had to do that. So I think the thing is, guys, you know, you hear so much gold here tonight, and she's doing such a great job. Get to conference, do that thing. So is there anything else you wanted to share before we give you a big freestyle thank you?
I guess to close, I'd just say that it's great to come on these calls and hear all this content about branding and social media and, you know, how to make it all sparkly and beautiful. But at the end of the day, the be all and end all is getting out there and speaking to people. You cannot just jump on these calls and feel inspired for an hour a week and hear about how to create a phenomenal brand if you don't go and take action and you don't go and have conversations. So come off this call, be at conference, be inspired, and go and take massive action.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Soph. Please, guys, don't friend Sophie. Follow her. Okay, that's what we do. If they're going to follow her on Instagram, they follow you on...
at business.bombshells.
At business.bombshells. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, other than that, we've just got one thing to give you, and that's a big freestyle thank you. So, guys, you know what we do. Come off mute. Give us some love. Thank you,
Sophie.
Thank you,
Thank
you,
Sophie.
that was awesome.
Sophie.
Thank you so much. That was so good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sophie.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie.
Amazing. Thanks so much for all your input.
Totally amazing.
Really appreciate it.
Oh, that's awesome. How cool is that? I'm stealing that.
Gave me goosebumps, girl. Thank you. I love it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
That was amazing.
Thank you, girl.